Well, we've heard the news in Australia today. Interest rates are up by 1/4 percentage point to 2.6%, the official cash rate, that is. It is the highest in 9 years, and there's talk that by the middle of next year, it'll go to 4.2%. As I said earlier, I have a problem with this policy formulation. The aim, of course, is to use the blunt instrument of interest rate increases to crush inflation. But what we don't know is the impact of the already announced interest rate increases, given that they take some time to feed into the system. Nonetheless, a string of international events will be making our Reserve Bank nervous, not the least of which is the mini-budget from the new UK Chancellor, Kwasi Kwarteng, who a week ago unveiled plans for £45 billion, which is about 78 billion Australian dollars, of unfunded income tax cuts on top of a £150 billion 2-year energy subsidy. That prompted fears that inflation, already nearing 10%, would climb in Britain higher and force the Bank of England to lift interest rates even higher than expected. To cover the plans on top of already large budget deficits will require a huge increase in government borrowings. Well, all hell seems to have broken loose. The value of the British pound tumbled. The Bank of England went on a £65 billion bond buying spree, but a new term may have been created. Dario Perkins is a London-based economist who previously worked with the British Treasury and helped design the structure of the Bank of England's interest rate setting committee. He described how the Truss government was being viewed by creating a new term, the moron risk premium, being punished for, quote, moronic policies. He said, the problem isn't that the UK budget was inflationary, it's that it was moronic. He said, in a small, open economy that seems to be run by morons, gets a wider risk premium on its assets, unquote. Well, the young man who replaces me on this program when I'm unavoidably absent is, as you know, Jake Thrupp. He's in charge of programming with ADH, but he has a splendid and incisive political mind. He is at the Conservative Party conference in Birmingham, and he's in the middle of all of it, and he joins me. It's morning time over there for him, late for us. Jake, thank you for your time. Oh, so what's the mood there? From this far away, there's talk that the Truss-Kwarteng government may be finished before it's begun.
Yeah, well, Alan, good evening to all your viewers. Basically, they say that Liz Truss, if she survives past Christmas, that it will be a miracle. They think the new Chancellor, the equivalent of a treasurer for us, they think he's gone, Kwasi. The thing with the mini budget, it was rushed, ad hoc, no communication, and all funded by borrowing more money, which isn't really the Conservative way, as you know. And everyone who I talk to here about Kwasi, it's very interesting. There's no doubt that he's smart, but he lacks an attention span. He doesn't really like to talk about policy issues when you're out with him. He likes to instead talk about all the history books that he's written and just very light on detail, doesn't really want to get into political messaging or anything. And this is what has really undersold the mini budget. And people just don't really understand where the money's coming from. They don't also understand that at a time when people on average or below average incomes are struggling to put food on the table and petrol in their cars, why the hell would you give a tax cut to the top end of town, basically 45% to 40%, and this only millionaires will benefit from this.
They have backed down on that, though, Jake, haven't they? They seem to have backed down within a matter of days. They have decided now they're not going to reduce the top rate from 45 to 40.